Yo, Chris and I, uh, sorry, our dogs are barking right now. So, hi everyone. So in this video, Chris and I will answer questions about interracial couple or partners. And we will share to you our opinions and also based on our experiences. So keep on watching.
Hi everyone, it's me Hazel.
And it's me, Chris. And today, in this episode, we are going to take a look at 10 questions that interracial couples get asked a lot. And we're going to look at them and just give you our opinion on them today. So, we're not going to waste too much time. We're going to get started. And number one, they get asked, you don't date within your own race. Hazel, what do you think about that?
I mean, I'm not against you can date anyone, like anyone in the world, as long as it's God's will for you both.
Yes, and I agree. When I think of that question, when somebody asks, why don't you date the same person that's the same color as you or from the same country? Um, you have to follow the will of God, and I think we both have. And for other people, they'll say that it's not based on what color or what culture you're from, but it's an individual. It's one person who loves and cares for that other person, regardless of who they are. Regardless of where they're from or what they look like. So, of course, for us, we can say that God brought us together. We were willing to reach out to somewhere that's not common, doing something that's out of the ordinary. And we met like we did online. And we certainly can say that we have met someone as far away from each other as possible, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, the number one, that's a common question that probably one of the most popular questions that any interracial couple or, any couple who is not according to the typical standard that society puts. I expect that eventually it's going to come down to somebody asking me this, and it might be a good opportunity to share with them what I'm sharing with you right now. That it's all based on where God leads and how God gives you peace in your heart with the person that you meet is what all that matters.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so number two, the second question is our home life different because of our differences? So what do you think about that one?
Of course, it's totally different. Yes. Um, I am born and raised here in the Philippines. It's totally different. My background is different from yours. Your experiences is different from mine. And you know, really, a lot. Here in the Philippines, we are family oriented, and we are really close to each other. Like our, relatives, living next to the house. Or here in the Philippines, you can open your house and anyone can come in, and it's really widely open. I mean, because in the Philippines, we are known to be, like the hospitality, we are more likely like that. But I would say even in America too, like they have that, family oriented, like, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there are differences, in the home. The Filipino culture is used to doing things a lot more old-fashioned way, maybe just because that's the typical nature there.
You can
So,
tell me.
so I'll tell you, and I'll tell everyone else.
Yeah.
Uh, so yes, I mean, comparing America to the Philippines, I mean, if you're not in the Philippines and if you are from America and you ever take a trip there, it will be a shock on your first experience, just because the whole entire nature is different. The whole entire aspect of lifestyle, of traveling, of staying in the house, of the amenities that you have, the things that the luxuries that you have, and the things that we have so easily here in America are not as easily available in the Philippines. So there are challenges for those who hope on certain things, but at the same time, if you have an open mind, which I tried to, I have an open mind and try to respect that culture, because just because their culture is different doesn't mean that it's any worse or better than ours. So, um, yeah, I mean, coming to Hazelden's place, like I said, most most houses, most families and culture styles there, you know, they don't have like one big thing that I remember is the toilet. Most people don't have like a flushing toilet. You actually have to flush it yourself.
Common. It's common here.
And that's common there. And just little things that, and as you think of just I think back to Hazelin always washing her clothes by hand. That's very common in the
And
Philippines.
you got to experience it too.
I got to experience that. I got Hazelin as we washed clothes. Um, so yes, we washed clothes together, and the water splashes around. And in America, you don't have to do that because you just throw it in the washing machine, and the washing machine does all the work. So
That's
yeah,
right.
and then the dryer, of course, you put it in. Whereas over there, you just hang it out on the line, and the sun dries very
Let it
quickly
sit under the sun.
because the sun is very hot.
Yeah.
And
And it saves electricity.
saves electricity. So, as we think about, going back to finish this question off, the home life differences, yes, there are differences, but again, I think most of our videos you're going to see that our faith and our choices and on the way that we think is all centered around God's help, God's wisdom. So, when it comes to having those kind of differences, we're able to get through it just because we don't come from the same country, from the same background, doesn't mean that we can't abide with each other. And it doesn't mean that we're going to argue about things as well, because you learn as you grow in your faith and as you grow in understanding each other, you can make your differences start to come together, and you can make things in life very livable together as well. So, do we want to move on to the next question? Okay, and now question number 3. Wow, you look so exotic. You look so exotic. Okay, so this is an interesting, little weird, I think, maybe, the way it sounds, but I mean, I think the question that is being asked here is, wow, you look so different than me. Um, you know, looking at, when we look at each other and we don't see ourselves, we're seeing somebody who's from a different nature, different color, different dialect, with the way that we talk, different language. So, what do you think about that? What do you think about when you look at me, you see a white person? What comes into your mind?
For me, I'm looking at you. You're you're very handsome. Yeah, for me, you're handsome. And even a lot of people, if they see you in person, they would say, "Oh, he's cute, he's white, he's handsome, he's tall," and some stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. I was stared at everywhere I went. Like I felt like I was a trophy. I felt like I was a movie star. Um, that, to me, you know, I guess you get used to it after a while, but it's true. Um, Hazelin and other Filipinos, they look at white people and um, they look and they have likes. They have the way that they think about that. I don't really know what I'm trying to say here, but um, yeah. So I mean, personally, just for me and her, I don't. I mean, of course, I think Hazelin is beautiful. I mean, but I don't see something anything different when just because of like if we're talking this discussion is on like the racial differences like because she is Filipino color and I am American white. um when we look at our differences that way, it kind of goes back maybe to the first question. you know when I look at myself, did I ever see myself marrying somebody other than like my same culture, my same ethnicity? And for a long time, I guess most of us probably do always see ourselves finding somebody who is right next to us. In our physical life, in our day to day life, we find somebody who's right in the same area. More than likely, they're going to be the same color as us, but it doesn't have to be. But I mean, for me, I don't look at Hazelin as exotic. I look at her as just the person that I love. I look at her as
Oh,
the
that's
and simply that is the way that we all must look at it as well. So we can probably move on to the next question here for time's sake. Okay, number 4. Um, Again, these questions are all very similar. Number 4 asks, are the cultural differences a problem? The cultural difference is a problem. So similar to number 2, where it asked about like because of two different cultures living in the same home. Number 4 is asking, are there any problems that we have faced because of our cultural differences? Is there anything that we face, love,
mhm.
because I grew up in America and you grew up in the Philippines? Is there anything conflicting there that we have to overcome? Okay. I mean, there's no doubt that there may be a few. I mean, just because, well, let's make this as an example. Hazelin loves rice because in the Philippines, rice is life, right? Rice, rice is rice is eaten every day. Well, for Americans, we have so much variety. To eat the same kind of food every day, for us, maybe it gets a little bit tiring. Like we get tired of it.
Mhm.
Um, that could be a cultural problem. That could be a difference where Hazelin wants to eat rice and she makes a meal that's rice and I don't want it. Well, that's where the cultural problem comes into play. But I think those kind of things, well, other people have said that it makes you stronger. The cultural problems aren't a negative thing. They make the person stronger. But it's all on an individual basis. And again, if you have God in your relationship, we're always going to keep coming back to that. If you don't have God in your relationship, you're starting off on the wrong foot. You don't
Yeah,
have you don't have that one in your relationship to bind you two together. He's like the glue to the two pieces, and if
yeah,
it's not there, it's gonna crack and it's gonna fall apart.
it's true.
Um,
And do you know if, like, being with some or talking to someone like, a foreigner, or, it's not same as you have to think about it that you will face in the future about these differences. Because
yeah,
we both have our own differences because of the culture. And, the good thing that I really appreciate because, um, Chris and I, we talk about it, like, the differences, and we are willing to adjust and, be understanding for, everything, because you have to really understand his culture and my culture, and that's the nice thing about it, because you learn to understand, and I can learn from him, and then he can learn from me too, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I think to answer this question, when people ask us, is there cultural problems? Is there cultural differences that create problems? My answer to that is if you have a problem, you created it yourself. You can avoid, you can either let the cultural things that are different be a
Mm,
problem, or you can choose to not let it be a problem.
yeah.
And
And if it's a problem, you can really talk about it and have time.
yes, the biggest thing that any couple has to realize is this: if you cannot communicate with each other, you can expect problems, whether you're from the same culture or not. If you don't communicate,
Okay,
you
yeah.
are going to see problems. And that's common in relationships. That's common in any kind of marriage or relationship is communication is essential. So let's move on. Number five. Number five, we get asked, what do we have in common? We have, of course, different cultures have a lot of differences. So what do we have in common?
I grew up in the church, in the Christian family.
Yeah.
Um, we have, we believe in the same God, of course. Yeah, one thing of that in
I'll
common.
give you a second to think. I would say, I'll agree with her starting off. We have a faith, a common faith in common. Um, we both believe in the same God. We both believe in the same Savior. We both believe in the same faith. We have both grown up in Christian homes. We're going to church from a young age. We both have gotten schooling. We both have went to college. Just because Philippines is not as technologically advanced as, America might be, Hazelin still has a college degree like I do. Um, so, we both have education. We both have, um, we both have like interests in, traveling, walking, hiking, going sightseeing. We have common things and like that. I mean, just and it's for every relationship is different. That's what drew us together is that we have common bonds. We have things that we enjoy doing together. I like to eat. Hazelin likes to eat, so we like to eat. Um, yeah, so I mean, without going too much further than that, that's kind of we have a lot of things in common. We could sit here and describe every little last thing of what we have in common, but that's not the purpose of this video today. So